What's up, gang? Welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Alice, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm a yoga, fitness, and mindfulness coach. And on this podcast, we talk about all things wellness, mindset, and all that jazz. So today I'm coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. It is a Monday morning, and yesterday it was the hottest day. It was 41 degrees at one point, and right now it's 21 degrees and raining. So luckily it got a little cooler, and yeah, I've been here for almost 2 weeks now. Tomorrow I'm leaving and I'm going to Sydney, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've been traveling for about 6 weeks now. But I've always been with friends. Like I had a friend from college who I was one of my best friends from New York, I'd say, who I was staying with in China and Hong Kong. And now I was staying with one of my really good friends from high school who lives in Australia. And so it's been really amazing. But this next leg of my travels is gonna be where I go solo. So that's also gonna be fun and different and interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. You can always check in on my Instagram stories if you're interested. And on my TikTok, which I am always on and off. I'll go on for a month and then I disappear for 3 months. But I'm recommitting now, so let's see how long I stay recommitted. And on my TikTok, I focus more on the traveling side, the digital nomad side of my life. But with TikTok, the reason I go off of it is because I feel like I just sleep worse when I spend time on TikTok during the day. It's really weird, but my brain cannot handle all those quick videos. Even though, you know, I should have the boundary of not being on it too much. Even if I'm on it for just a little bit, it impacts my sleep. Is that crazy? I don't know. I'll let you know how it goes. But today I want to chat with you about my rituals and routines because I asked y'all on the gram what you wanted me to make an episode about, and that was the one that came back mostly. How do I stick to my routines? What are my personal and unique routines? How do I show up for myself every day? And I always I always am wary when I make posts about this or when I chat about this because it's so unique and different for everyone, and because life is not perfect. Everything you see on the gram where people are like, this is my morning routine, I want you to know that it is not their morning routine every morning, and they probably do it once in a while and it helps them feel good, but they also have days where they don't do it, where they don't feel good, and that's totally normal. We want our lives to feel as good as possible, of course, but life is not perfect. Life is hard. We have our own, hormonal side of the story where, for me personally, if you know something about your cycle, I always like to split it up in the 4 seasons. You have winter. Day 1 of winter is when your period starts. Then you have spring and summer. Summer is where you're ovulating. And then you have fall, which is basically where your body's preparing to bleed and go back into that winter season, right? So I always like to see it as my spring and summer seasons. I have so much energy. I'm in such a good mood. I have the space and the energy to do all my rituals and routines. But in the fall and in the winter, I am gonna be lower energy. I am gonna be a little more down, a little more, for me, it's very much melancholy that comes up in those seasons. And it's also been, for me, stepping into the wisdom of knowing that it's okay. I don't have to be 100% energized every day. And the days that I am down, it's okay to give myself space to be emotional, to go to bed early, or to, just say no to the social events. And that's okay too. And so my rituals and routines will vary a lot according to my cycle. I know it's kind of a hype, the whole cycle thing and the menstrual cycle, but behind the hype, I do feel like there's a lot of truth behind it. I always used to be the girl that was like, we can do anything while we're bleeding. And yes, we can. We literally are the stronger sex, no offense. Okay, maybe that's sexist of me saying that, but I mean, we can do everything while we are bleeding. It's amazing. And while we're wearing heels if we have to. But it doesn't mean we need to do everything. So for me, it's giving me a lot of space and comfort to know that, yes, I can do whatever the fuck I want, but no, I don't have to. And that maybe has come with age, or maybe has come with, bumping against the wall a few times too much, or like hitting rock bottom. I don't know if I've hit rock bottom, but like just realizing I keep making the same mistakes over and over by, overcommitting, by doing too much, by really draining myself until I can't anymore and being on the brink of a burnout, and then realizing like, okay, yes, I can do it, but do I have to? What's the point behind it, right? And then really deciding in my life and in my business what actually is important, what is actually a priority, what is actually making me money, what is actually moving the needle, and focusing on those things instead of doing everything just because I can. But reeling it back to routines and rituals, I always talk about a wellness toolbox on here. Every time I interview a guest, I talk about a wellness toolbox. Just kind of knowing what works for you to make you feel 5, 10, 20% better at any given moment. So, you have the basics that every single human being needs, like nutrition, water, a roof over your head, like feeling safe. Do you feel safe in your relationship? Do you feel safe in your home? Do you feel safe at your job? Like all those things. Ooh, I feel like I'm not breathing and I'm talking so fast. I'm actually making myself lightheaded. So let me take a deep breath here. Here, take a deep breath with me. All right, let's keep going. So you have all those basic needs that every human being needs, but then you also have your unique things that help you, right? For some of you, it's going to be calling a friend or a family member. For some of you, it's taking a workout or going for a walk. And all of those things are also going to be different depending on where in your cycle you are, how you're feeling, what are you opening your toolbox for? Is it preventatively or is it reactively? Like, are you already having a bad day? Do you already not feel good? Or is it a routine and ritual that you do every single day or every week to feel like your best self? So I can share with you what's in my wellness toolbox, and I'm sure it's going to be pretty standard. For me, it's moving my body. If I do not move my body, I don't feel good. And some haters might say, you're addicted to working out. And no, I'm not, because for me, a walk counts, a stretch counts, wiggling or dancing counts. So it doesn't per se need to be a sweaty workout, and it definitely isn't. If I'm tired, I am gonna listen to my body and not do that. But I've recently been diagnosed with ADHD, and all the research says how important exercise is, especially for people with ADHD, as a way to, make sure their dopamine levels and endorphins are functioning, to channel that energy, all that stuff that I have been dealing with since childhood. I just never realized it was ADHD until it became like a trend and a hype. And I was like, you know what, let me go get myself checked out and get an official diagnosis or not. Because I'm one of those girls that's like, with every video that I saw, I was like, oh my God, that's me. Oh my God, I do that too. Oh my God, that's me too. And I didn't want to offend anyone by thinking or ever saying that out loud who actually has ADHD. So I thought, let me make an appointment with a psychiatrist so I actually know. And now it's uncovered so much of my behavior, and also so much of why I have certain strategies and routines and rituals that I do, because I know they make me feel better. And so exercise is a huge one of them. But exercise might be a too specific term. Let's use movement in general. So in my wellness toolbox, when it comes to movement, in my routines and rituals, it could be workout, like running, strength workout, whether it's going to the gym, doing a studio class, or doing an online workout, which I love. And I urge you to put into your toolbox, because it'll give you the accessibility and ease that when you don't make it to the gym or you don't feel good enough to work out in a studio with other people around you, that you still get it in, that whether it's a 10-minute wiggle, a 15-minute workout, a 20-minute yoga flow or bootcamp class online. Like, I'm not just saying it because I have an online platform. I actually really believe in it and have been using it since I was literally 12 years old. I used to have workout DVDs at home. So, and then when I was grumpy or in a bad mood, I would just turn that DVD on and I would be like, working out with Heidi Klum's trainer. Yeah, I used to do that. Ask my sisters. But it's just so important to me, to people with ADHD, to every person in general. If you look at the World Health Organization, like the guidelines about movement, it's like you need to move every day. And we often don't make the time, and that's okay. Our lives are really busy and really stressful, but it's going to be a vicious cycle if you don't start making time and creating time, because it's all in your hands. No one's going to do it for you. You have to decide when, how long, and what, right? And so that's where that routine comes in. For me personally, I prefer moving my body first thing in the morning, but that doesn't always work. So sometimes it'll be a lunchtime walk, sometimes it'll be an evening class or after dinner walk. Sometimes it'll be in between meetings, putting on my favorite song and dancing really intensely. And that all works. It's really about shaking out that energy, resetting your system, your body. And yeah, that's really important. Another thing that works really well for me, routine and ritual wise, I've noticed is I've always loved to-do lists, but often they become overwhelming. I keep them all over the place. They get messed up, mixed up. I lose track of where I actually made the to-do list. So what really works for me in the morning is actually going over my to-dos, going over my lists, maybe making a new list, and picking 3 priorities. And how that really helps me is I could keep working. I work for myself. I have my own business. So the work is never really done. It's not like at 5 p.m. I would say like, oh yeah, I finished. I can come back tomorrow. Or at least that's what I thought I couldn't do. I would always have to make more Instagram posts, to create more classes, to create new challenges, to create new marketing plans and learn more about Facebook ads and reach out to potential collaborators or influencers who wanted to try my platform, or, create a podcast and create a YouTube channel and do this and do that. The work is never done. So what I really had to learn is I have to set my own boundaries, my own priorities. And when I've checked off the to-dos or the priorities that I set for that day, it's also done. And then I am not going to go to bed at night thinking like, oh, I did so many things, but what did I actually do? And also, I used to have the feeling I was never done. I used to go to bed and be like, okay, and then tomorrow I'll do that. Oh, I didn't finish this, so I'll have to do that. And I just went to bed with such a feeling of overwhelm, and it really messed with my sleeping schedule. And that's one of the things that I feel like when was it? Like during COVID, I really felt like I was like definitely on the porch of a burnout. And that was a big reason for it. So one of my big parts of my routine has become making priorities, having freedom within that structure. So setting a structure for myself. And when I finish the things within that framework that I said I would do, that I feel like I'm done for the day. Even though, of course, there's always more work, I can feel like I logged off, I did what I had to do, and it makes me feel good. So that's a big part of my routine as well. Setting priorities and actually sticking to them, of course, is a big one too. And not every day it's going to work out. When you work for yourself, you have to have a lot of discipline, maybe also when you work for someone else. But knowing that if you don't stick to it one day, just start again the next day. It's totally fine. Same goes for moving and working out, by the way. Yeah, I don't know if that helps because I feel like I'm kind of recording a chaotic podcast right now, but that's what it is. That's what's happening. When it comes to, okay, let me go from the beginning. So when it comes to a morning routine, every morning looks different for me. Okay. I'm going to be honest, but there are some mornings that I know work best for me. And that always includes a sort of movement, whether it's a walk, whether it's a workout or a yoga flow, whether it's at home or in a studio. Any type of movement really helps me. Then drinking water. I drink too much water, like literally. I do this pee test once in a while that you pee on and it tells you like, oh, you have too much of this, too little of this. I don't know how accurate it is, but every time I do it, it just says I'm overhydrated. My nutritionist said I have to start adding salt to my water. It's because I work out so much, but I'm always thirsty. So I don't know, send help. But first thing in the morning, I need a big ass glass of water or I feel like I'm gonna die. So actually let's start there. I wake up, I have my big glass of water. Then depending on the order, either I'll move first, whether it's a workout online, whether it's a workout in a studio, whether it's a walk around the block or a walk with my dog, who I am a part-time dog mommy. When I am in Belgium, I take care of my dad's dog. Then it'll be breakfast. Sometimes I'll have a snack before my workout because I do feel like that's important. If it's a gentle workout, I'll eat after. If it's an intense workout, I'll eat a little bit before, and then I have a real breakfast after. I am an eater. I am hungry. I'm a hungry girl. What can I say? I am a yoga teacher and a fitness teacher, so I move my body a lot. So my body really needs the nutrients. I spend a lot of energy, or I don't want to say waste, but I expel a lot of energy during the day. So I need to refuel that. And I really believe in fueling your body with food. So breakfast is always part of my routine. And that could be a smoothie bowl, that could be oatmeal, that could be gluten-free toast with something, maybe scrambled tofu, once in a while scrambled eggs. It's all depending on the mood, the vibe, and what I want and I'm in the mood for. What else is part of my routine? So yeah, then after or while having breakfast, I'll write down my priorities of the day, my to-dos, I'll go through that. Even better when I actually schedule them right into my planner, saying at what time I'm gonna do what. I don't always do that, but that's bonus points. And then I get to work. So I feel like that's my morning routine. I try to not forget my supplements in the morning. And then for me, a bedtime routine is also important. And again, I don't always do it. Life gets in the way. But when I do sleep better. And for me, a big part of that evening routine is just unwinding, making sure I log off on time, making sure I'm not on social media after preferably 8 p.m., but 9 p.m. realistically. And the last few days, for instance, I've not done that. I've been on my phone too much and it's really affected my sleep. I've been not sleeping great. I really have to treat myself like a baby in order to sleep well. And my baby routine in the evening is so important. No bright lights. I prefer candles in the evening. When I used to, in my previous apartment with my previous partner, he actually installed red light for me, which was a game changer. At 8, our lights just ran, automatically jumped to red light. And our neighbors probably thought we were running a brothel or something, but it was really, really good. Apparently, I don't want to talk about ADHD too much because maybe you don't have it, but it could be relatable for you. Your hyperactivity can come out at night. So I have always been a really bad sleeper ever since a baby. As a kid, I often run on 4 to 5 or 6 max hours of sleep just because falling asleep is really hard for me. And I'm a very light sleeper as well. That's why my baby evening unwind routine is so important. And so I just discovered that hyperactivity at night can be part of ADHD. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense because I don't often feel hyperactive during the day, but it'll really come out at night. I'll start everything will start. I feel like I need to move my body. Everything will start itching and I feel like I just have to wiggle. I'll get the sleepless leg syndrome. Literally, I feel like a crazy person sometimes at night, and then I'll just get out of bed and I need to shake it off, and then I try again. And then of course, as a yoga teacher, I know all the tips and tricks. I try the meditation, I try the breathing, I try the body scan. This mostly for me works preventatively because once I'm in one of those hyperactive or one of those overdrive zones already, it's too late. I kind of just have to surrender and just be yeah, this is it. I'm not going to get much sleep tonight, but tomorrow will be better. So that's why preventatively my unwind routine is so important. So if you have an option to install a red light that automatically jumps up at 8 p.m., great. Turn off all the other lights and just put on some candles. Try to have a timer on your phone that at 8 p.m. or at 9 p.m. it's no, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is off limits. Don't hit ignore. Don't hit ignore for 15 minutes. Don't hit ignore for 1 minute. Don't hit ignore. Listen to the rules. I'm telling myself this. And then also a big part of that is no caffeine after 12 for me, but also trying to maximize my 1 coffee a day and not more. What else is my evening routine? A bonus points for a little stretch or a little yoga wiggle. Always good to get if you've been sitting behind your desk all day or driving, or maybe you've a standing job, but just moving it out. Again, also just to reset your nervous system, perhaps a meditation. What I really love, what really makes me feel good, but I always do for a while and then give up and then start again. But yeah, I go with the flow with it, is journaling. A good gratitude journal, especially just going over my day when I'm in bed from the morning to the evening and writing down all the good things that happened or what I'm grateful for. And often I've realized it's not I signed on a new client, or I finished all my to-dos. It's never that. It's always has to do something with people and connecting. Like, oh, I love the connecting. Like, I love that class I taught because I had so many good little connections afterwards with the people that joined, or like I had a good chat with some of them afterwards, or that supermarket chat with that old lady that I had, like that was so cute, or bumping into a friend on the street, or meeting up with my sister for a coffee, or having a FaceTime chat with a friend. Like all those types of moments, I'm always like, oh, that brings me a lot of joy actually. And I'm very grateful for those moments. And I realize that when I go through my day, and it really helps you to fall asleep just feeling, like you had a good day. And even when you had a bad day, sometimes when you do this, you get so much better, and it gets much easier at like finding the little things that did bring you joy, even if it was a crappy day. Like, oh yeah, but I still had that morning coffee, and yeah, then my song came on the radio that I really love, and yeah, then I don't know, whatever it is. So I love having that as part of my evening ritual or routine as well, even though I don't do it every day. Some gratitude journaling. Journaling in general is really good. Also something that I do on and off, but I do love writing my thoughts down on paper because I feel like my brain can get very chaotic sometimes and I need to just get it out. So I'll do a brain dump. That could be in the evening or the morning or just when I'm feeling overwhelmed. Let's think, what else do I do? I always try to take my supplements in the evening, especially magnesium I focus on. You have that Sleepy Girl mocktail recipe going around now, but just regular magnesium is fine in a capsule. Just try not to take magnesium oxide, but any other magnesium, because magnesium oxide is what they often sell, but it doesn't get absorbed well by the body. So try to do magnesium glycerate or bicarbonate or whatever. I don't know the official term. Just don't do magnesium oxide. Yeah, I think that's kind of it, guys. Let me think. Did I forget anything? Yeah, I try to make connection part of my routine, like reaching out to one person a day, like not right now when I'm traveling. I try to do that, whether it's a friend or a family member, whether it's, via WhatsApp or FaceTime. Does anyone still use FaceTime or video call? Or whether it's actually meeting up with a real life person that I know in the city that I'm visiting or that I don't know but might have met online through Instagram or whatever. Really having a human connection, human connection during the day. That's apparently so important for your health. And I do feel like I really benefit from that. And I think that's it. Water, supplements, movement, connection, prioritizing my sleep. And then of course it's gonna really depend, like if you have a partner, make your partner a part of your routines and rituals. Like, yes, you're doing it for yourself, but if you're gonna sleep next to someone, you sometimes want to have that connection moments in your routines, right? Like wake up together or snuggle in the morning or whatever it is. And if you don't, like that's totally fine. Then use this time, the single time, to focus on yourself, like what I'm doing. If you can see, I'm drinking my decaf coffee from this mug that says "C'est la fucking vie," and it's a cute mug. And that's it. What I really want to leave you with is that routines and rituals will fluctuate throughout your life, throughout your cycle, throughout your days. It really depends where you are, what you're doing, what your schedule is. But the good thing is, the one thing I will leave you with is that it will make you feel very good when you realize that you're the one that's in control of your routines and rituals. And while I say that, actually, the other thought is coming up in me. And then when you do that, like 90% of the time, it also feels really nice when the other 10% of the time, you're like, screw it. And you have one of those days where you're just like, I'm gonna see what happens. So it's all about harmony, about balance. Maybe 90 versus 10% isn't even a good. Maybe it should be more like 80-20 or 70-30, because life isn't all about control. Of course, we love our control, but there's only so much we can control. But when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to, being productive and also feeling like, oh yeah, now my work is done. Like according to my routine or rituals and to-do lists and priorities, I'm done. It's also, you get more, you can relax more in those moments that you've planned to relax, right? Or at least that's what works for me. But we also need those moments of freedom where you feel like, if I want to sleep in, I'm going to sleep in. If I'm going to wake up and feel like whatever I want to do, then I'm going to do that. And life is an adventure and I'm going to see where it takes me. So you want that balance, that harmony. And that's also the beauty of once you get into actually like sticking to a daily routine and ritual, you'll also have the flexibility and freedom to not have to be so specific with what you're going to do, as long as you have that time allocated that you are going to do something for yourself, right? And you are gonna do something that charges you in the morning and it helps you unwind in the evening. All right. I don't know if that helped, guys, but you asked for my personal routines and rituals, and I feel like those are some big ones. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything, but if I did, I'll have to make a part 2 of this. Besides that, I am gonna leave you with, as always, remember, you got this. One step at a time, one breath at a time. Try to go with the flow and just trust yourself. Believe in yourself and know that you are amazing. I hope I'll see you very, very soon. Tomorrow I will be traveling to Sydney and my solo part of the trip starts. So I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit afraid, a little bit scared, but I'm also excited. So I always have that feeling before I travel when I'm like, oh, when I left Hong Kong, I was like, oh, I wish I could just stay in Hong Kong. I know it here now. And then I got to Melbourne and it was amazing and fun. And now I'm used to it here. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should have just stayed in Melbourne. Why am I leaving my friend? And why am I going alone? And I am sure in a few days in Sydney, I'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I'm just letting the fear, I'm feeling the fear and doing it anyways. So have a beautiful rest of your day. And remember, feel the fear and do it anyways. See you soon. Bye. And you got this.